It is 2:17 a.m. The world is asleep. On a forgotten stretch of road beside the Castaic Lake reservoir, a scene exists in a vacuum. A silver Toyota 4Runner lies on its passenger side, a Beetle overturned. Its metal skin is crumpled. Glass is scattered like ice across the dirt and dried grass. The violence of the impact is frozen in the still air. Minutes before, a Butte County Sheriff's deputy received a call. A concerned citizen reported a young man sitting in this same vehicle, parked just off the roadway. He hadn't moved for a long time. A welfare check. But the deputy arriving finds no young man. He finds only the aftermath. The car is empty. The driver's door is slightly ajar. The deputy's flashlight beam cuts through the interior. It illuminates deployed airbags. It catches the gleam of a cracked laptop screen. It finds spots of blood, dark and dry. This should be a traffic accident scene. It is not. It is the second half of a vanishing act. The point of departure is unknown. The destination is a mystery. All that remains is this brutal punctuation mark in the middle of the night, and a single, unanswerable question. Where is Bryce Laspisa? To understand the depth of a disappearance, you must first know who vanished. Not just a name, the shape of a life. Bryce Laspisa was 19 years old. A recent transplant from the suburbs of Chicago to the sun-bleached sprawl of Orange County, California. He was, by nearly every account, a good kid, polite, handsome in an unassuming way. He had a close, if sometimes strained, relationship with his parents, Karen and Mike. He was navigating the common struggles of a first-year college student. New independence, new friendships, a serious girlfriend. He worked a part-time job. He played video games. He spoke to his parents often, the calls a tether between his old life and his new one. But in the weeks leading to August 2013, that tether began to fray. His parents noticed a shift during phone calls. A new flatness in his tone, a lack of enthusiasm. They chalked it up to stress, to the natural growing pains of adulthood. The plan was for him to drive home to Rockland for a visit. He told them he needed a break from school. He told his roommate he might not be coming back. He packed everything he owned into his Toyota 4Runner, clothes, television, gaming systems, transforming it from a vehicle into a moving pod of his entire California life. It was a 6-hour drive he had made before. This time, it would become a labyrinth with no exit. Bryce left his campus in the early hours of Tuesday, August 27th. His trip north on Interstate 5 should have been a straight line. Instead, it became a series of bewildering pauses. The first major stop was in Buttonwillow. He pulled into a truck stop and simply stayed for over 7 hours. During this time, he had a long final phone call with his girlfriend. The conversation lasted more than an hour. She would later tell investigators that Bryce sounded detached, that he talked about giving away his belongings, including a valuable ring, that his words were laced with a concerning ambiguity. The call so alarmed her that she immediately contacted his parents. This sparked the first of many desperate calls from Karen Laspisa to her son. Bryce answered. His voice was a steady, unnerving calm. He said he was tired. He said he was thinking. He assured her he was fine. He just needed to rest. He promised to keep driving soon. He did not. He drove a little farther, then stopped again at a gas station in Valencia. He sat there for hours more. His parents, now frantic, begged him to let them come get him. He refused. He told his mother he had taken some of his prescribed Vyvanse, a medication for ADHD, to stay awake. The combination of exhaustion and stimulants could create a dangerous cognitive dissonance, a body on alert, a mind adrift. He was lucid enough to give clear directions to his parents over the phone. He was coherent enough to satisfy police officers. Yet his actions were those of a man trapped in a loop. By Wednesday night, he was agonizingly close to home, just off Interstate 5. Near the town of Castaic. In his final call to his mother, he was placid. He said he was pulling over to sleep. He promised to call her at 8 o'clock the next morning. That promise was never kept. The loop was about to break. Throughout this lost day, Bryce Laspisa intersected with authority. He was seen, assessed, released. Each contact is a point of profound and tragic ambiguity. In Buttonwillow, concerned truckers called the police. Officers found him in his car. He was polite. He showed his license and registration. He explained he was tired, resting before continuing home. He gave no cause for detention. Later, in Castaic, A California Highway Patrol officer performed another welfare check. Bryce was again compliant, coherent. The officer ran his information. No warrants. He was a legal adult, of sound mind in their brief interaction, not expressing any intent to harm himself or others. The officer's hands were tied by law and protocol. He suggested Bryce get a motel room. Bryce nodded. The officer left. This is the cruel hinge of the case. The system functioned exactly as designed. It identified a person who was not an immediate danger. It respected his autonomy. And in doing so, it failed to perceive the silent, slow-motion emergency unfolding inside the vehicle. The officers saw a calm young man. They did not see the hours of static immobility. They did not hear the fear in his parents' voices. They missed the terrifying disconnect between his rational speech and his irrational behavior. He was, in the eyes of the law, free to go, and so he went. Deeper into the night. At approximately 2 a.m., a noise shattered the silence near Castaic Lake. It was the sound of metal tearing, glass bursting, earth giving way. A resident reported a vehicle down an embankment. Responders arrived to find Bryce's 4Runner on its side. A testament to violent force. The vehicle had left the roadway at a point where the guardrail was missing. It plunged down a steep slope and rolled. Crash scene analysts would later determine the SUV was likely traveling at a high speed. The damage was catastrophic. The roof was crushed. The windshield was a spiderweb of fractures. Such crashes are routinely fatal. And yet, Bryce Laspisa was not inside. The driver's seat was empty. The airbag was stained with blood, but not much. His wallet, cell phone, laptop, keys, all remained. A pair of his glasses was found. So was a packed suitcase. His life was there in fragments. He was not. There was no trail of blood leading away, no obvious sign of a grave injury. He had survived the unsurvivable, and then walked away. The search ignited with sunrise. It was a massive multi-agency effort. It was also a race against time, though what had happened to that time was unclear. Search and rescue teams with dogs worked the rugged, arid hillsides, dotted with brush and ravines. The terrain was unforgiving, hiding countless places where a person could fall, could become trapped. The K9 South picked up Bryce's scent from the vehicle. They followed it, up the embankment, back to the shoulder of the busy highway, and there, on the asphalt, it vanished. This detail is a black hole at the center of the investigation. Did he walk down the road, his scent dispersed by passing cars? Did he get into another vehicle? The dogs could offer no certainty. Helicopters with thermal imaging scanned the area. Dive teams probed the cold, murky waters of Castaic Lake. Volunteers walked grid patterns. They found nothing. Days into the search, a single enigmatic item was discovered. A large personal water jug, empty, lying on its side not far from the crash. Had he carried it with him? Had it been in the car? Its meaning, like everything else, was opaque. Bryce Laspisa, who had just endured a horrific car accident, disappeared into a landscape that offered no cover, no obvious escape. He left behind every single thing that connected him to the world. With no body, a vacuum forms. And into that vacuum, theories rush. Each is a story built from the available pieces. None complete the puzzle. The theory of voluntary disappearance is persistent. The packed car, the calm, prolonged goodbyes on the phone, the crash itself. Could it have been a deliberate, drastic act to sever his old life? To create a point of no return? Did he walk to a waiting accomplice? A pre-arranged ride? To begin a new identity? The lack of a clear financial trail or digital footprint since makes this difficult to prove, but not impossible. The theory of accident and exposure is the simplest, and often the most statistically likely. A disoriented, concussed young man, in shock from the crash. He wanders into harsh terrain, seeks shelter, becomes lost, and succumbs to the elements, in a place search teams have simply not yet found. The California wilderness can keep its secrets for decades. The theory of a mental health crisis underpins almost every other. Where did he go in the critical window, estimated at roughly 20 minutes, between the last confirmed sighting of him in the parked car and the deputy's arrival at the crash site? And the water jug, a trivial item, yet it sits in evidence. A silent witness. Was it a clue to his intent, or a cruel red herring? The evidence does not point to a conclusion. It points to an absence. It outlines the silhouette of a mystery, 11 years have passed. The Castaic Lake area has changed, grown. The Laspisa family's life is divided into a before and an after that has no end. They keep his case in the light, they speak to media, they plead for tips. They wait. The waiting is its own kind of wilderness. The official investigation is cold, but open. A detective may still get a call. A hiker may still find something. It is the fragile hope that defines these stories. Some cases are closed with a verdict, some with a body. Some with a tearful reunion, and some disappearances don't end. They simply stop being explained. A long pause. The faint highway hum returns for a moment, then fades into complete, enduring silence. If you have information about Bryce Laspisa's disappearance, no matter how small, no matter how insignificant it may seem, someone is still listening. Cases like this do not end when the noise fades. They end when someone speaks. If this story stayed with you, share it. Keep his name in circulation. Because disappearances do not resolve themselves. And silence is where they hide best.